One guy said, if you don't do this and fill in your fun, work will consume and you'll be a poison to the company.
Mm.
And so I just try to fill it in. Fill in the, and he goes like this. He goes, check this out. When you got a flight that leaves Thursday at 2, you get more done Monday through Wednesday than you would in 5 days. Because you know you're leaving at 2 on Thursday. So you hustle hard for those first 3 days.
Sure.
So if you always have something to look for and you have these goals of I'm leaving at 2, you'll be more productive.
20 to 30 sub-trades per job.
$35,000 a
You
week.
will be licensed 10 years next year.
You've mastered the trade. Now you need to master the business. All right, welcome to the Build Line. This is episode 13. I'm Jerry, and this is Heather. We've got a great guest in today, and Heather, tell us a little bit about him.
Thanks, Jerry. Well, in the studio, we have John Moore. John Moore is the owner and leading of one of the top demolition abatement companies here in California, JM Environmental. We've had the privilege of getting to work together, getting to know you a little bit more. We're really excited to have you on the Build Line. Give it to the clients, give it to the future business owners, all the wealth of knowledge that you've had. So thanks, John, for coming on with us.
Appreciate it, Heather. So episode 13, lucky 13.
Hey,
And the Build Line, I like it.
Yeah. Why don't you dive into a little bit? Give us the elevator spiel of where JM Environmental came from, your story. You have so much to share. I'm so excited. Where do we want to start?
Well, it came from a bucket of tools that I got from the auction. True story. And it came from, the ground up. I have a little garage in Citrus Heights, a house I paid $95,000 for. And, it's been 31 years of, waking up to the alarm and following my instincts and creating my own little list of how to make it happen and taking good notes, keeping your word, doing a good job.
I love that. Now, was that always in the life plan, or was that you just, I'm going to start doing this. I got my bucket of tools. I'm going to come out here. I'm going to kill it.
What really happened was when I became a dad. When I became a dad, it's like, okay, time to grow up, time to lead by example, time to, change your children's lives.
Yeah.
Make a good life for them. So that's really what put me in the direction that I ended up following.
I love that. That's how we came about as well. And that's, I think, one of those core values that it comes from a place of I started this from the heart because you're now worried about this other person that's going to count on you. And how are you going to be there? How are you going to sustain that? How are you going to make that living? So I love that part.
You're saying I have to have children now?
I'm sorry, Jerry. I mean, you have a dog, right?
No, I don't have a dog.
Wow,
you got to
you're
pick
psycho.
up their poop. I'm not doing that.
God, you have a hamster? Anything?
I've got cats. Plural.
Wow, I am judging you so hard. You're a cat guy?
You can leave them and go anywhere you want, and they poop in a box. It's fine. You don't have to babysit anybody.
Okay. Wow, Jerry, I'm seeing you a whole new light now. You're a cat guy. Okay,
yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Oh, that's all good. Sorry, we're off topic.
I was lucky enough to have grandmas that had cats and other relatives that had dogs, and I realized I wasn't going to be a good caretaker of animals. They require way too much time
Cats,
for me.
They'll go out and they'll eat all the have they keep the mice down.
Yeah.
They have value.
I do like a good feral cat that'll kill a snake. Now that's something else.
A barn cat is a barn cat.
Yeah.
No, but an indoor house cat, that thing gives two shits about you.
You got to have all of it.
Out.
I've got all of it. I got the barn cat. I got inside cats.
So let me hook around. The last thing is I was fortunate enough to be born the son of a general contractor. Started off as a framing contractor, and then my dad became a general. So I got to watch him go through the 70s, the economic crisis in the late 70s, early 80s, interest rates jumping up. It was like 15%. I just remember watching my dad go through all these things. So that actually... he is not the reason there's JM, but he is the reason there's JM, because I got to, learn by his successes and also his failures.
Do you learn from guys like that? You learn from what not to do sometimes, right?
100%.
When you have those, so that kind of gives you that edge of you don't have to guess because you learn You learn what to do, but there's also a lot of what not to do when you have family in the trade.
Oh yeah, and my dad was very passionate. He, he was a man's man. He was an absolute crusher. Good old school framing contractor, and
Nice.
he used to frame for Dunmore way back in the mid '70s, and he was their #1 framing contractor. And so, from the time I was 9 years old, every weekend and a lot of after school, I worked for my dad. And, I didn't get paid, but I was working.
He's working.
I had calluses from my wrist to my fingertips by the time I was 11.
Wow. Nowadays, it's child abuse.
That is child abuse. You can pay them though.
I wouldn't know. I don't have any children.
Get the cats out there.
Oh.
That's so true. Do you think we've talked about this, and I think one of the common things that we've noticed now, 13 episodes in, the people that come and the guests are on the show, and I think, Jerry, you and I as well, there's this common theme of growing up in an entrepreneurial household, an entrepreneurial spirit that drives you, I think, more than what, being a parent myself, you really realize what that exposure is, right? I grew up 3 generations of hustlers, had their own business, worked for somebody, but had their side hustle and started their own businesses. And there's something about that gives you that so much more in life lessons.
Well, yeah. I mean, leading by example is a great thing. And, watching my dad as a kid, he was a great example of what to do. And he was also a great example of what not to do. People would say, Carl's always a good time until he's not.
Yeah.
So it was, good old school framing contractor stuff from Orangeville.
Are you conscious of that now because your son's in the business with you? Is there times something happens, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have? Or...
Nah, I try not to have regrets like that, and I follow my instincts pretty well. And, some things I do might be perceived as, whoa. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't run it back. I'd do it the same way.
Nice.
And because it's coming from a place of passion and sobriety and experience. So if the way I deliver the message sometimes is a little rough, so be it.
John's way.
It came from a hard road.
Yeah. Yeah. How? Well, let's talk about what he brought us here. He brought us this. The John Moore JM Environmental Keys to Success in Your Personal and Professional Life.
Indeed.
And
personal and professional life.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
These you came up with and wrote them down and you live by them. Is there any one particular that,
there is.
It's a daily, got to remember that one.
So it's number 2. It's the take good notes. That's a life changer. And that's really what made me who I am as an adult. We'll say that. Number 1, I put, stay drug and alcohol free, because that, there was multiple reasons I wrote that. One is a friend asked me how I did it, and I respected that friend. So I started working on this is how I did it. And at the same time, my youngest son, was at a vulnerable, age. This is like 17 years ago, probably, I wrote that. And so I wanted to put, the obvious, stay drug and alcohol free. That's number 1. Be hitting on all cylinders all the time.
Yep.
Number 2 is take good notes. Take good notes. Everything that follows that, the rest of that list hinges on the taking of the good notes.
Do you go back and read the notes? Like, you'll run through today with your book, and then, do you reflect on that later?
Jerry, there's so many things that handwriting your notes does for you.
Oh, I believe in handwriting.
Look at today. Look what I have.
Yep.
I got little ones. I got big ones. We're just shooting from the hip, right?
Yeah.
So, simple things like remembering someone's name.
Yeah.
Like, I could have walked in here and it's the first time we met, and your name could have went right out of my head, and I'd be sitting there going, what's Jerry? What was it? But it's the little things that hinge life. It's a domino effect of good stuff or a domino effect of unfortunate things. Taking notes is where it all starts.
The writing, I think, the actual physical part of writing, I think is huge. I stress that to my guys a lot because they're like, they want to do it on their phone and all this other
No.
jazz. And I'm like, it doesn't
translate.
right. You need to write things down.
So I have the yellow tablets, right?
Yeah.
So everything, if I make little notes, it all goes onto my yellow tablet. And then, it's checking them off. Every night I'll redo it. By the end of the day, it looks like a battlefield. Things are written sideways. Things are crossed off. Things are added. So it's the yellow tablet and the paper calendar is how I still run my life. It's how I built my business. And that yellow tablet and that paper calendar, it now takes around 20 computers to keep up with that system has generated.
Yeah.
And a lot of people. So it works.
Yeah. I have one of those I carry around, and if I leave it somewhere, people always tell me I left my brain. Like, oh, you left your brain on site. It's over here,
That's so
right?
funny, Heather, because that's what I call it. Where's my brain?
Where's your brain? Yeah, I'm the same exact way. I have the notebook. I carry the notebook around, and it's interesting because my team has noticed it. Maybe you have this experience as well. Your team will notice you write all these things down and have the notebook, and I've noticed my team's like, hey, Jen, can you order me a notebook? Hey, Jen, can I get a notebook? And it's interesting, your point of like, hey, write it down, do it. I've noticed my team's adopted it more because they're like, okay, I see you doing it.
I say waste paper, and I buy them by the stacks so that I put them everywhere.
Yeah.
So they're accessible.
Yeah.
And it helps. It's kind of selfish, but I know what it'll change.
Yeah.
So writing the notes is huge. Write it down.
I love that. That's true.
Mm.
What would you put as the next best thing? What's your number 2 on the list here as we share with everybody?
So I don't have it memorized. So wake up early, obviously. You're not going to get nothing done sleeping. So that kind of hooks around the nothing good happens after midnight because, then you're not going to be able to
You're not getting up early if you're staying out,
so,
getting into trouble.
You said something when we were talking earlier. We were talking about schedules and what you do in every day, your daily routine. And Steve asked, do you still go to the shop? And you go every day.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people out there have this misconception that they have this business and at one point they'll be able to sleep in Monday through Friday and it'll run or something like that. And the struggle of that, like we know in the back of our head that this is a lifelong thing that we've got ourselves into, but you go, oh man, I wish I could do this or that. And today hearing you talk made me feel good because I get up every morning, 14 years now, and I get up every morning and I go out to the shop and I talk with the guys for 30 minutes or whatever it is. The main guys come, and sometimes I'm like, fuck, what am I doing here?
They got it figured out. Why am I here?
Like, what, I got to do this again? But like, I feel like it's so necessary, but I didn't know anybody else I knew one guy, Floyd Moore Brothers Drywall. Mm-hmm. They were here for a long time, big commercial contractors. And when I went to work for them, Floyd would be there before everybody. And he was in his 70s 20 years ago. And, so then I hear you say it and I go, okay, I'm on the right track.
Well, this
is what I got to do.
And the bottom line is business is fragile. It just is.
Oh my. Yeah.
When you are in the trades, and that's, why we're sitting here, the build line, we're all in the trades. It's a fragile industry. You can do the right thing for decades and step away just a little bit. And there's an old saying, 1 oh shit erases 100 attaboys. Yeah. So a lot of work that you've done can just, it can be forgotten really as you're only as good as your last job. Yeah. There's that saying as well. At 62 years old, do I still like having to go into my office every day and keep it between the lines and, be the leader? I wish I didn't have to, but I know better. I have to.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah. That's what you got to do. So this is part of the things of what we got to do.
It's a got to do. Yep. Work hard, play hard. Find your passions and your hobbies and go at them hard, and that keeps your mind clear.
And without that, so you're heavy into passions of, you're a risk taker, you're a rebel, you're out there driving and flying, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And if you wouldn't have had those, you say that's part of your existence, right? People will take, relieve steam or whatever, but there's things that you learn from that, I'm sure, that Absolutely. You bring into business or things that just happen. And I think a lot of people today in the social media, you got to grind all day long and never do anything ever. But that seems like a miserable existence. And it's the people that I've met that are well-rounded, successful individuals all have some sort of passion that is extracurricular.
Mm-hmm.
So don't believe all this social media shit that is like, just go down and work 40 million hours a week. You know, I don't believe it, because the more that I meet you guys, the more things you have going on that isn't JM Environmental.
Well, I bet you're a note taker.
Yeah. Oh, all day long.
Right.
Yeah.
Heather's a note taker. So and I'm going to circle back, there's one thing that makes a person successful in creating their company or working in their company at any level of life, you become a note taker, your life is going to improve. And the amount of things that you can juggle is going to grow. I mean, you know, people are like, how do you do it? How do I have race teams, aviation, 3 airplanes, race motocross for decades and decades? All these things are like little individual companies, but they're my passions. But I still couldn't do them if I didn't take good notes. So that's how you keep them organized. Forecasting forward, you know, you're just on your game.
Yeah.
You know, so it all starts with those notepads.
Yeah, we
And
talked about this another episode. It was, and I mentioned the guys you go on vacation with that don't have any plans. They're the worst people to go with because you don't do shit, right?
Oh, it's terrible.
So you have to stay organized. The more I travel through life, organization becomes the biggest and most important part of it.
Yes.
Because without it, it just seems people are falling apart.
Somebody asked me at Thanksgiving a couple years ago, what, you know, they're always my family does great Thanksgiving, passing the little bell around, and it's like, okay, your turn. What are you thankful for? And I said, I'm thankful for routine.
Yeah, routine.
Because without routine, I would be a mess. It's just my nature. I love routine. You know, get it set up and just keep it going.
Agreed.
It grounds you. I think for me, it's one of those things where it centers, and if you have control of your routine, right? We're surrounded by so many things that might go wrong or might change or might derail us, right? But what's the one thing you have control of? Your routine. What time you wake up, what you're going to do. I mean, I'm down to like what cup I drink out of in the morning. Like
at 3:30 when you get up.
Yes, I know.
Is that too early for coffee, or what do you do at 3:30?
I do an amino energy, and then I go to coffee. So double the caffeine.
Jeez.
So I know, right?
I like
Get the
it.
heart pumping. I just, that's my routine. I get up. Steve will attest to this. I am a grumpy person if I do not get up before everybody else and get my chance to like boot up, get my mind right, get my list right, I get my notebook out, write down what I got to get done for the day. I mean, that's the weekends, that's during the week. It doesn't change for me.
I call it the 2-hour rule.
Yes, I love that.
It's the 2-hour rule. So if I'm not up and moving 2 hours before I have to have it together, you know, interact with the world, is not going to go right. It's just not. So 2-hour rule.
Yeah.
I learned it very young, is from being uncomfortable. Like, you know, wake up, something is important out in front of you. You try to sleep in till like, you know, 45 minutes before you got to be there. You get up, throw your clothes on, boom. You not good.
You're frazzled. Then you're just frazzled the rest of the day. You just, I'm just off my game.
2-hour rule.
Minimum. See?
I learned that early on. I remember rolling out of bed, probably 18, 19, I don't know, and going to the job site, and like there's these guys that are 25 years older than me, and they're nicely, cleanly dressed and shaved and all together, and they're there 45 minutes before me.
Yeah.
And I roll in wrinkled, you know, and I was like, God, like those are the guys that I wanted to be like, you know. So I asked, you know,
they got their old school, real hot thermoses full of coffee, and they're just kind of getting their day set, and then
they're not frazzled, they're not making mistakes, because they've already got it all planned out.
Those were the guys. And I remember, one guy told me I was doing something, and he comes over and Jerry, you got to run with the herd, man. And I was like, you need to sit over here with us and just kind of, and I started doing that and I'd get there earlier and I'd prepare the night before and preparation. Here we go. And everything just got better from there.
Now you're one
of
those old
I
guys.
remember walking onto that commercial job, and it was a long hallway, and I just felt like shit. I could see them. It was a mirror that I could see myself, and I go, this ain't right.
You know, there's a lot to be said about routine and momentum. You know, like we're discussing a 2-hour rule, getting up, all these things that it raises your spirit, you know. And a lot of things, there's a couple of little JM-isms that are coming back to me. It's like, in business, it's like Tarzan swinging through the jungle. Okay. So, you get a vine and you take a ride, and it's like, oh, there's another one. Boom. And you catch another ride. Then there's another one. You catch another ride. And then maybe you miss one and you bounce off the deck, and you just got to get back up, find another one, and get that swing, get that momentum going again. And it's what defeats a lot of folks.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not easy to catch that next.
When you fell off and didn't catch it, like how does that feel? I mean, how do you come? Because a lot of guys put their head in the hole and go, I'm not going to do that anymore.
That hurt.
That hurt.
Well, I go back to Heather and I's, what we call it is our brain. I go back to my list, and that list literally, it pulls me through life. It does. My list, if I didn't have it, I wouldn't know what to do. If I wasn't a note taker, I would wake up I'd be like, what am I going to do today? But, it literally pulls me through that in the paper calendar. That's the other thing. And that's on the JM Top 10 is, it's that list and the paper calendar.
Yeah.
And the paper calendar is things that are, they're out in front of you. So it's like, when my briefcase sits right next to me, I'm driving the truck, my phone rings. Hey, can you be here on Monday at 9 a.m.? All I got to do is glance to the right, and I see Monday, 9 a.m. It's either busy or it's not.
Yep.
And right then I can go, yep, I can be there. And I make that note, and it's done. I'm not going to start multiplying and cross-mogenating and committing to things that I can't keep my word to. So, it's the list and the calendar that help me recover and move forward. I mean, things like, I cover it. Things aren't always going to go as you would like them to, and it's
back to basics.
It's not the character that you show in the good times. It's the character that you show in the bad times, and how you turn it around and keep digging.
What does that look like for you? We're talking about the list and we're talking about writing it down and taking notes. Are you writing, is that a reflection? Is that a thing you're looking at? Like, what did the JM team do well? Is that stuff you bring, you're talking about your top 30 guys. Do you do that internally or do you do that in collaboration with your team?
Oh, goodness. Well, I have that morning meeting every day. So if there's talking points that I want to share, I always share them and I'll make notes. So I do share them. In my notes, it's my list. It's the things that need to happen, and I'll prioritize it, and I'll usually highlight it. Like, this has got to happen today, and this is the order it needs to happen in. If I get all that done, these are the other things. If all of a sudden an opportunity presents itself to, hey, that wasn't a must do, but look, there's an opportunity to slip that one in too. So it's all right there for me to see.
Let's do it. Yeah.
And I can, accomplish more things. I mean, note takers, they'll run circles around people that are not. Period.
I had somebody tell me that you become the most valuable person in the room when you're the note taker, because the people that don't will look to you and they'll look to that as truth and fact.
Yes.
Versus what they might remember in their own brain.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had this morning somebody asked me, I go, hey, man, if it wasn't written down, it doesn't exist. Because we're talking about he said, she said, and I'm like, sorry, like I see it differently.
Boy, isn't that a whole nother conversation? Contractually.
Yeah, that's what it was over money.
They're not your friend.
And I'm like, hey, I just don't think that's fair. I remember the conversation a different way, and the contract says this, so
how do we do that?
I mean, I don't want to sour our relationship, but if it wasn't written down, it doesn't exist. And then there was kind of like a pause for a second.
Yeah, I had to learn that one the hard way, because like if I say it, I'm going to do it. I just, I keep my word. Keep your words in there. How do you keep your word? By remembering to keep your word. I'll beat that take notes thing to death, because it's, going back to the beginning of, what made the difference, what helped JM get going, what's changed my life, and it's the day I learned that taking notes made me feel good.
And that translates to, number 6 on your list here is communicate well, right?
Correct.
So if you have those facts, if you have that written down, it makes you automatically a good communicator, because to your point, it's spoken, it's followed up, we're memorializing it, right?
Yes.
And then we're sending it out.
Yeah. How do you communicate well? By taking good notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
by
I think
using a
that's so
paper
true.
calendar, forecasting well.
Oh, I love the calendars. I got 3 in my office, and then for our personal life, we have in our dining room we have about a 7-foot long by 3-foot tall whole year whiteboard calendar,
That's awesome.
and we write down all of everybody's birthdays, stuff like that, and then all of the fun things that we want to do, and we for the year. So in January we write it out, and then we look at last year's and go, hey, what was fun? Oh shit, we did that. Let's do that again. Or no, that was whack. I'm not gonna, or let's extend it, and then fill it in as the year goes. And in December we get to reflect, and
That's
because
a great family calendar. I love that.
one guy said, if you don't do this and fill in your fun, work will consume and you'll be a poison to the company. And so I just try to fill it in, and he goes like this. He goes, check this out. When you got a flight that leaves Thursday at 2, you get more done Monday through Wednesday than you would in 5 days. Because you're leaving at 2 on Thursday. So you hustle hard for those first 3 days.
Sure.
So if you always have something to look for and you have these goals of I'm leaving at 2, you'll be more productive. And I've kind of seen that and felt that with us having this big whiteboard calendar. It's pretty cool. And people come over, and it's because it's in our dining room. They go, oh, look, they're going to be, gone. Well, don't rob me,
So like the communicate well, like there's like a story behind every line item on that list. One thing that comes to mind about the communicate well is, and I learned this very early, like the first few months of getting my business license and my contractor's license was answering the phone, right?
Yeah.
So I would call up other companies and try to learn from them in the beginning, because I literally didn't know anything about business. I knew about working hard. I had a lot of calluses. My dad taught me how to be, his personal go get it done person, that's putting it nicely. But there was a lot to learn. So I would call up other companies and just like pick their brain, pretend I was a customer. I'll just pull the covers right off of it. It was a little bit probably irritating for who I was calling, because I'm pretending I'm a client, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. I'm someone that's trying to learn. So that's one of the ways I learned. And even when they didn't answer the phone, it would irritate me. So I'm like, what if I really was a client? I don't want to leave it. And I don't want to talk to an answering machine. So I came up with a thing called the 3-ring policy. So ring 1, great if someone answers. Ring 2, that's cool. Ring 3, your heart rate starts to change. At 3 rings, you're starting to be like thinking differently about this interaction that you're trying to have. It's like, come on, pick it up. So 3 rings every time. Don't let it go to 4. It's going to change the energy of the conversation.
Wow.
So the
That makes a lot of sense.
3-ring policy, right? And my first ad I ever did, this is way pre-internet, was in the penny saver. It's all I could afford. So at the end of my ad, I put, talk to a contractor and not an answering machine. And I made $140,000 my first 12 months in business off of that ad.
Answering the phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
So going back to your instinct of how you felt as
Yes.
being a client and going, I don't want my clients to feel like that. We're going to do it better.
Yes, communicate well. There's a whole lot of things to talk about with just that little phrase, but that's one of them that I thought I'd share because it's a good one.
I love that.
And also pre-cell phone. What year was that?
There was cell phones. They were really big.
In a bag.
In a
You
bag,
carried
yeah.
around.
It was 1994.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, the batteries were like half the size of a lunchbox,
Yeah.
And you set in your center console, and then you picked it up. It was like the handheld at home. It was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember seeing
The
those.
cords were like this, big old thick cords.
Yeah. I always think about like my uncle would tell me, he goes, you guys got it good, because he would line guys out at the jobs, and then he would leave, and you never knew what happened until the next morning or later that afternoon, because there was no cell phone
Right.
to check on anybody. Like, you didn't know you couldn't get a hold of everybody 5 minutes. You kind of hope for the best. See you later.
Different times. Just different
That
times.
would would be hard to do. That'd blow my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different times.
That's so true. Well, Jerry alluded to it a little bit. I want to talk a little bit more about your outside world beyond construction, because I feel like if you follow you on social media, which Jerry and I have both done, and getting prepared for the podcast and getting to know you a little bit more, you have so many things that you do outside of just work, right? You alluded to it, right?
Yes.
Motocross, airplanes,
Yes.
race cars. How did you get involved in that?
Your
And
passions, right?
Yeah.
So they're healthy, you know.
Which one's your favorite?
Well, gosh. So motocross is where it all started.
Okay.
You know, I started JM in 94, 95. You know, I just about had enough money to get into dirt bikes, because that goes back to my childhood. I loved them. My youngest son, JD, you know, he loved the BMX bikes. That's all I could afford at the time. You know, pedals ready. And then he's like, I took him to a race at Arco Arena. And the kids came out at halftime and raced the little 50. And he's like, Dad, if I had a dirt bike, I could beat all those kids. That was the beginning of JM racing, literally. So, you know, I worked hard, and I got him a little dirt bike, a little fat tired Honda 50, and it was a little bike and a helmet. And that is literally where JM racing started. And then it went from that to I got a dirt bike, and then we started racing hair scrambles. We did that for like 6 months, and then Hangtown Motocross came along, and I decided to enter Hangtown. He was still, young, too young to race Hangtown. They didn't race 50s, but we started racing Sac Raceway on the Friday nights, and it was every other Friday night, and that just kicked off the whole racing part of our life, and it took hold.
Yeah.
And we raced from 96 until we started racing cars. If it wasn't raining or a holiday, we were racing somewhere. So 45 weekends out of 52, probably, for at least 10 solid years.
Wow.
So motocross is where the JM racing started. And then it just slid over into race cars. Stockton 99 Speedway. One of my buddies was doing it, and Jay Lindstroff, Lenmore Fencing. Have you heard of him? So he's be a character. You should know him. Yeah,
I'll have to get him on the pod.
He's awesome. So he's a iron gates, old redwood dog air fence. I mean, that's where he comes from, going way back. But he's a great iron guy. But he started in the race cars, and it was foreign to me. Then another one of my buddies, Eric Schmidt, and then we were, another buddy, Gary Dunn. So we're at Hangtown racing in 2000, and he's like, we both did well, we both won. Go back to the house, we're swimming. He's like, hey, you want to go to Roseville and watch my buddy Eric race tonight? So I'm like, yeah, I've never even been to a stock car race. And I'm like, let's do it. So I sat in the stands and I looked down at what was happening. I'm like, how much does it cost to do that? He's like, oh, $50,000, you can get a car and a trailer and get into it, Well, that wasn't true. But that's how it started. That's how the racing started. So 2 weeks later, I went home and said, hey, I'm going to get a race car. They're like, yeah, sure you are. It was right around Easter. 2 weeks later, I had a race car and a trailer and didn't know what I was doing at all, and just inserted myself into it. And then I was doing motocross and race cars. Wow. And then the race cars started overwhelming the motocross. I've never stopped. I mean, the calluses on my hands are still from my dirt bikes. So they're like embedded in me. But that's what started the race cars, and it went a long way, and it's still going. In 2022, I was inducted into the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
So, from never even being at a stock car race in 2000 to 22 years later inducted into the Hall of Fame shows the effort, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And it was a passion, and it was you know, the full gauntlet of happiness, tragedy, and all mixed in, but that's life, you know.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it goes back to what I said earlier. It's not how you handle the good times, it's how you handle the bad ones, you know.
Yep.
Because we're all going to have them.
Yeah, and Monday through Thursday, you're looking forward to that Friday night race. You know, you're kind of out there hustling, thinking in the back of your head, gives you something to look forward to again. You know, with these how the work and your passions can be combined in a positive way. Like you started the conversation, it's healthy.
It is healthy, and
Yeah.
you know, all these things, I don't do them all myself. I mean, I manage it, keep it between the lines. I built it all, but you have to have help, and it's just like in your company. You have to have good help. You're only as good as your teammates.
Yeah.
It's another thing. I don't even like calling my employees. To me, it's an offensive word. I don't like it. So I don't like saying you're an employee. To me, that's like saying you're an a-hole. You know, I don't want to say that. I
We
like
work
to
together.
say you're a teammate.
Team.
We're teammates, right?
Yeah.
Not employees. It's a team. You're only as good as your team. So, and it goes to the race cars, to the dirt bikes, to the aviation. It takes people. You know, everything takes people.
You have to work together.
Yes, and
There's a
surrounding
consistent theme.
surrounding
teamwork.
yourself with the best folks you can is always going to have a better result.
Yeah, I think that's true. And you have to be very disciplined to do all three. Be a business owner. You have to be disciplined, you know, prepping your car, getting your car out there, racing, right? Aviation's the same way, right? You have to be very disciplined. You've got to go through your checklist. You've got to
Yes,
understand all the parts and pieces in order to do it. And it goes back to being prepared.
and you got to have a good service team, you know, because things do fail. And
Yeah.
got to have someone that's there to help you get it, you know, back flying. And
It's true. What's your craziest race story you can share with us?
oh my goodness, motocross or race cars?
Ooh, whichever one you like. Man, I'm open for either. Whichever one you think's the best.
Oh gosh, well, there's 22 years of stock car racing. I'll go with the most recent crazy, which was awesome, in a one of a kind. So it's the Firecracker 100 Stockton 99 Speedway. Big race every year, you know, on 4th of July. I'm one of my buddies that used to race with me 20 years ago. He's circled back into racing, and I'm his daughter's godfather. So good friend, right? So we used to race every weekend together for years. Then he went off and became a NASCAR spotter. So he was a cup spotter, top of the food chain position in NASCAR. So he was a spotter, did that for a long time. Then he came back to racing. And so we meet up at the Firecracker 100. It's fun just to say it.
Yeah.
Say it. Say
Yeah.
Firecracker 100.
Firecracker 100. Maybe they'll get us to announce. Ooh.
It sounds cool, right?
I like it.
So it's the Firecracker 100 main event, super late models. And, you know, it's just a surreal memory to think, you know, the first time I raced a car was there. And so if you've never done it, the first time you do it, it stamps that in your. It's one of those memories you never forget. Grandstands full of people, all these shiny stock cars, the smell of the fuel, just
Yeah.
things are getting ready to go. So anyway, we get together. Another guy hits him. He shoots down, gets under my right front, tips my car up, and he's going downhill. So anyway, I tumble down the front
boy.
straightaway. So grandstands are packed. I never have rolled a race car. It's not very common.
Wow.
So boom, 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 boom. I tumble down the front straightaway, land on the roof, slide to a stop at the grandstands. You know, you can smell the gas. You think fire. You know, this is not a great feeling when you're in a race car, strapped to the seat, hanging from the roof, and you think it's going to catch on fire. So,
Yeah.
you know, what's going through my mind is distinct movements, you know, methodical, just don't get in a hurry, but be in a hurry. So I get myself unbuckled, bum, bum, bum. The safety guys are there, pull me out. I look up at the crowd, everyone's like, and I just like, yeah.
All
And
right.
the place goes crazy. So then I run and I jump up on my car. So now I'm standing on my car upside down, sold out crowd. All the little kids run down. It was
that's cool.
It was a surreal moment.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That was like a movie.
It really
Yeah.
was. Yeah,
That's
it really
cool.
was. So that's a good race car
Jeez.
story.
That's a good one.
Yeah, upside down. That adrenaline's pumping.
baby.
Oh,
There's got to be a
man.
picture of this somewhere. We got to find that.
Oh, there
Yeah.
is.
Okay, we got to find this now. Now I'm going to
Yeah.
start Googling.
It'll show me standing on that car like this.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. That's a good race car story.
I think that's awesome. You have so many insights on this list and your stories and everything else. There's so many things you could define as success between your business, between race car driving, your JM racing and everything else. What's that legacy? What do you want that to look like, right? You're talking about being, inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like people are putting a stamp on John Moore, right? John Moore's done this. What do you want that lasting piece to be? I mean, this piece of paper is amazing and I love this, right? But what do you want your lasting piece to be of like, I've done all these amazing things, but this is it.
Oh goodness. Probably that I was a good dad.
Yeah.
That's I mean, if you enjoy being a dad,
Yeah.
in which I do, and I would have been the least likely if you would have known me and asked my friends in high school, would John Moore be a good father? They'd be like, are you kidding me? That's like last on the list, right?
Yeah.
But I actually really loved it. It was terrifying at first, but quickly that changed for me.
Yeah.
And it's, I like, I'm a big show off, right? So who's better to show off for than your own son?
Yeah. I mean, even little kids now, they're in their 20s and 30s, right? You're still the still the guy.
I'm always looking for my next favorite person to show off for,
I love that. Now, you mentioned earlier your oldest son works in the business. Is that
my youngest son?
Your youngest son works in the business. How's that transition been?
Awesome. Challenging in the beginning. Not a surprise. What my advice would be, and it's hard to follow, is if you have a son or a daughter that's going to follow in the family business, and you as the parent know that that's a good way to go for them, because you always, I always say that being a good mother or being a good father is you always want your children to be everything you are and everything you wish you were, right? So that's kind of a JMism right there. You want them to be everything that you are, all your good, and everything that you wish you were and are not. So if your business is solid and you go, yep, this is good for my child to just follow this lead, jump in the same river, and they get out of college, I absolutely do not recommend having them go straight to work for you, because they have not had the opportunity to see what the other side is like, and they're quick to find fault, So my advice there would be, if they want to work in the same industry, have them work, for one of your pals. Jerry, go have them hang drywall, have them go do masonry, have them go put roofs on, have them go work for other folks before they come into the family business. I was going to do that with Cole. I didn't. So our start was a little rocky, but he's sharp and he figured it out.
Yeah.
And, it's like sometimes as a dad and as the president of the company, there's challenges when you got family in the business. And Cole's mom, Tanya, my wife that I started the company with, so she's still there every day as well. So that's a whole nother conversation about how important it is to have a good partner. And it's JM, but it was also TM. Without her, I wouldn't have had the freedom of movement. I wouldn't have had a good support system. I could not have accomplished all the things that I was able to go out into the world and sell the work, manage the work, do the work. There's a whole backstory behind what it takes to keep the ball bouncing, you
Yeah.
know. I'm going all over the place in my mind, but so yeah, I don't know how that started, Heather, but Cole, the business, his mom.
Yeah, well, you've touched on it. Let's go to Heather, because Heather and Steve are both working here. So you don't have like a somebody you guys can go home to. Like for me, I go home and my wife, and she's supporting me, and she's a cheerleader, and she, you know, if I need to cry, she'll listen or pat me on the back or kick me in the ass. Like you guys just go home together with the same problems.
Yeah.
What's going on with that? Like what do you do? Because I don't know what I would do without my wife or somebody to help me in those ways.
Yeah, I think that's hard. I think Steve and I are both appreciative of the fact that we both work here, and we know the challenges and the struggles. We've done it independently, working for other people. So we knew enough, having both worked in the same industry and both being in construction, and working for other managers, other business owners. So we knew the struggle, but didn't know the struggle of what it would be for business ownership. And I think we both are very appreciative of the fact that we do get to share it together, because I think it would be very isolating for both of us. We're both good at. We're individually good at what we do in the company, and together we're a good business owner together. And so I think if we had that independently, I think it'd be harder.
Absolutely. And you guys are in the same exact shoes that Tanya and I were in, you know, because you know,
2 boys, all of it.
all of it.
Yeah.
And it took a while for me to figure this one out, because it can overwhelm. I'll just, for lack of better words, take over, you know, all the conversations at home. So write it down and trying to make a pact with each other to not talk about work at home. And that's so hard.
So hard. That's so hard, especially when you have that thing that's like just irks you. And then now it's like we have technology where we get the email from the client at 7 p.m, and now we're talking about it.
It's tough.
That's so
It's something to work towards, though.
It is. Our kids keep us accountable. Our kids, we try to do it independently, but our kids will say, like, Mom, Dad, can we not talk about work? And we're like, ooh. Okay, yeah, like we won't, right? And so I think that it's good to have your kids hold you a little accountable to that as well. My kids are very astute when it comes to that, and they'll call us out. They'll be like, "Hey, do we have to do this right now?"
Enough.
Right? Or they'll ask. They'll be like, "How was your day? How's that one job going?" Like my kids will see it. They see a lot of our projects, and they'll end up coming out to sites, and they'll ask. They'll be like, "Is that job done yet? You know, where are you guys at?" And then it's like we've all had this conversation. Now we can move on. And now we're talking about what sporting activity we have to go to.
Yeah, and I guess you just chalk that up to life. I mean, it's like there's always the what could have beens, and you know, there's always those thoughts, but I like to also circle back around and go, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
You know, what's the alternative? The alternative is I'm working for someone else and Tanya's working for someone else, and it stayed that way forever, and that's going to have its own challenges also. So then, you know, when you're husband and wife and you build something together, sure, there's challenges, but there's going to be challenges in everything. But the accomplishments are going to be way bigger doing it the way that Heather and Steve are and the way that Tanya and I did.
I agree.
Everything has its challenges.
Do you like having the cheerleader? Do you like, how much do you divulge to your wife on what you do and what your day looks like? Or is it 10,000 feet?
Not a lot. I don't want to burden her brain with the shit that goes on. You know, sometimes I'll say something, but I keep it pretty separately.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's impressive, Jerry.
We don't like, she doesn't know how many bank accounts I have or money in the bank or business or any. I mean, I have she's all set up to find it out. There's a spreadsheet with passwords if I died on the way home.
The oh shit list?
Yeah.
We call it the oh shit list. Yeah.
But like we don't, I'd keep it all kind of to me. I don't give it to her.
Who's your right hand?
I have a guy, Will. He's about your age, and every morning we meet. I got 2 of them. I got 2 guys to talk to and bounce off. You know, the problems that we have daily, you know, things like that. But
Who does I have the banking?
Me.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
Hats off to you, bud.
So yeah, I all day try to control it, and all that stuff. But
You're paying all those bills, doing all those deposits.
that's me. I'll leave from here. I'll make 50 phone calls to the office, and I'll spend the next 4 hours doing all that.
Keeping insurances all
Yep.
up to snuff, licenses renewed.
That's all me.
Oh, man alive.
He's good at it. That's the thing.
That's awesome.
Don't let him fool you. He's good at it too. He might not like it, but
I enjoy it. I've worked my whole life, so I know what it's like to be out there, and work is cool and all that, but it does suck too, so I appreciate what I have and what I'm building. I just try to keep all that stuff in perspective. Those thoughts come into your head of like, oh man, you get slow. Like right now we're slow. I got 5-6 guys sitting at home, and and you start to think things, and am I doing things, doubting yourself and all that stuff. And like meeting you today and things that we said prior really gave me a boost of energy. And so I think it's good to have a community of people and meet people and talk to other people in your world and get involved
Yes.
in stuff, and it kind of helps.
I still have those feelings too. 31 years in. That's why I said earlier, business is fragile.
Yeah.
Because it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give 100 all the time, communicate well, do a good job, do everything right all the time. Shop's organized, tools are sharp, things are ready to roll. And you're like, why am I not being taken advantage of? This is too good to sit here. Why is it stagnant right now? So that happens to everyone.
Yeah, thanks. It feels that way.
Well, it does.
What is going on? You pump this machine of marketing and sales, or you go out and you talk to people, and you're following this list.
Yes.
You're doing all the right things, and then your goddamn phone doesn't ring.
Yes.
And what did I, or you do something like this podcast and you go, am I going to alienate certain people? Am I going to say something wrong that somebody will fire me? We talked about growing bigger earlier and maybe people not liking that. There's all these feelings and opinions and all these weird stuff that comes into play, and you can't help but think about that sometimes.
So here's the bottom line. What everything you're saying is, I have the same thoughts. You just have to know that if you've done everything right and you've always kept your word, you've communicated well, and you've done a good job, and you've always represented yourself with honor and pride, and you've done the right thing through and through, the world is not going to forget about you. It's not you, it's everyone. 99% of the time. It can occasionally be like you're listening to all your buddies and the coffee shop talk type of thing. It's like, oh, you busy? Everyone's, and you're like, why ain't I busy? You're all busy. Why am I not busy?
Yeah.
They're either BSing a little bit, or it's just that, that unusual time, and it'll change. It always does. It's like the sky is not falling. It took me a long time to talk myself into believing that. And, and it does go back to, never stop digging. Never stop your pursuit of beauty, your pursuit of doing the right thing. Like I said, opportunity doesn't have a schedule.
Yeah.
And that's
a good one. That helped me this morning as soon as I read it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, and it falls down to the bottom, like how you handle the bad times. A lot of people quit. Some just give up and they quit. And the ones that don't, and they keep digging and they stay focused forward, they keep making those notes. Opportunity doesn't have a schedule. Stay ready. Stay ready to seize it, because it could pop up at the most unopportune, unexpected times. You could be doing something. You could be doing your hobby and meet your best client you've ever met. It's just staying ready.
Staying ready and having that infrastructure, like we were talking about, having that, your 30 guys or my crew. So when that opportunity happens, you can actually seize it, because people do get slow and quit or pull back. And then when the opportunity arises, they don't have either, whatever the could be, the infrastructure.
They're not the same anymore.
They're not the same and they can't. So I see and feel.
And
that.
it's all people. You know, they're like, you always think, where's this, where's this unicorn client? You know, what do they look like? You know,
Yeah, where are they at?
What they look like is like normal people. It's, like, example, I'm at a race in Roseville years ago. A buddy of mine, he's half hammered drunk, drinking his beers, introduces me to a friend of his that's having a few, adult beverages. Me, I'm racing and I don't drink ever, but I'm always paying attention. Introduces me to this guy, and it's like crazy crowd, and he hands me his card, and I put it in my pocket. I get home, I look at it, and it's like lead PG&E engineer of work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So it was like the highest guy in PG&E that handed out projects.
Oh, boy.
Well, that turned into a huge opportunity that still goes on to this day. I still do work for PG&E, and they love me. They love my work. They love everything about JM. We're a good fit, but it wouldn't have been nothing had I not been there at that moment, at that time, sober, and didn't lose his card. And things tumble in a good direction, if you
You're out
let
there.
them.
Yeah.
Staying ready.
Stay ready. Stay ready. Stay ready's for real.
I got
Yeah.
a bunch of stories like that, but I'll leave that one alone. And here's a good one. This is a good one. Respect is earned and maintained and not assumed, right? It's another like poor me. It was driven by somebody being like a poor me scenario. And I was like, no, that ain't how it works. How it works is if you have a heartbeat, you want respect.
Yeah.
Everyone wants it. If your heart's beating and you're alive, you want to be disrespected. I think one of the most things that will upset any human is being disrespected.
Sure.
The most. It's like it's the trigger that fires us all off. So we all want it, but you got to earn it, right? So then you earn it, and is it like a celebration day where you go, oh, now I'm respected, yay, and then you can just go back and do things that aren't respectable? No.
Right.
So respect is earned and maintained. You got to maintain it once you get it, not assumed. Because you had it once doesn't mean it's lasting forever. It can go away very quickly.
Because it's fragile as well.
Yeah.
It's fragile also.
Yeah.
If you ignore it. If you ignore it, if you
Yeah.
don't,
So staying ready is a big one.
And this is, remember how this list started. It was someone that I respected asked me how I did it. So I really dug deep, and then I simplified it. But I experienced all those emotions, and how they pulled me from one end to the other. And how I found the bubble, in the center of the level, and try to keep.
And it took 31 years. I think a lot of us, you get into a certain amount of years, you start thinking, why is it this way or why isn't it that way? But takes a lot of years to do this stuff and to get to where you are, and it's just.
It was about 17 years ago. So whatever the math on that is, my brain's cooking.
But you got to earn the stripes. You
Yeah,
got to
you
put
gotta
in
earn
the
'em.
time. It's the time behind it, and then to your point, it's the stories. Because all of those are probably from something that didn't go right.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the ones you learn from the most.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's always a good cheerleading story, but I feel like for every cheerleading story, there's 5. Oh crap, we screwed that up.
And the way I end it is, the world gravitates towards diligence. Everyone loves it, right? I love it. When I find it, I'm like, oh, that's refreshing. A person's diligent, and by working on doing that top 10 list, it creates diligence, and the world gravitates towards diligence. So there it is.
There it is.
Try to exercise that and let it start your new reality.
Kick ass. It's 2026. So
Rock and
I
roll.
love
Yeah.
that. I think that is great. What are you
Well-
still chasing, John? You're still racing. You're still doing this. You still got JM Environmental. What's like the achievement? Like, I want this before I'm gonna
That's a good one.
hang it up. What do you think?
So, it's not toys,
Yeah.
because I don't have enough toys. There's always the next toy, but that's not the goal.
Superficial.
I would say the goal is peace.
Okay.
Like just true peace.
What does peace look like? What is that?
Oh, goodness.
You had to describe it. What is that?
I would say, it's you have a warm feeling with your family and your friends. You're feeling that warmth, and you have a woman partner that you enjoy their company, and that you can share that time together. And it could be someone that you've known, for 40 years, and it reconnects. It could be someone new. I'm not sure, but if is it what's the goal? I would say that's the weak spot. That's the room for improvement.
Got it. So chasing it still.
Yeah.
And Mondays and Fridays off. He wants those.
That would be nice. It would probably help with the other thing.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope. Mondays and Fridays. Then
It is, but
it's
then you're not at
Thursday,
the
Friday.
shop, and then you're out of
Yeah.
routine, and then we're back to square one again. Man.
Oh, I said it. While I was flying home. Cole and I raced a really cool stock car race Saturday and Sunday down at Button Willow. So fun. Road course racing and V8 Mustangs, top of the food chain, big wings, just getting it on racing. And we were flying home, and, the sun went down right before we took off. It was a beautiful flight home with the lights glowing through the Thule fog. That's the first I'd ever seen. So, with this Thule fog,
Yeah, it's
then
wild.
all the cities below it, right? Well, when it's nighttime and the sun just went down, you can see the whole valley of Thule fog. It's basically the Sierras to the coastal range, all the way up the valley. It's just this layer of Thule fog, and every city is like a glowing. It's like a snow globe under it, so it's trippy
cool.
looking.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that, and I just thought, I was like, man, I hope people quit pissing me off so much. Because I was just going up and down like the 2 weeks, prior to that Sunday race. And I was reflecting back on those 2-3 weeks. And it's a challenge because it just is. But rise to the occasion, right? No sniveling. Keep digging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a challenge because it just is.
That's life.
Hey, bro.
That's life.
What are you going to do?
But it was a moment because, Heather asked me, what's the goal? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'd like to have some more peace,
Yeah, for real.
And at that moment, I was wishing for that to come sooner than later.
Yeah.
Because I was reflecting back, and I'm like, oh, man, I just hope people quit pissing me off so much.
I'm going to use that. That's how I feel about life. I'm going to use that one more. I think that's awesome.
Oh,
Well,
boy.
I think that's it. We've wrapped up, John. Well, thanks for coming, man. It's been a lot to talk about, and I feel we could go another hour.
Easy.
I know.
So I think you're going to be on the reoccurring guest list.
I agree.
We're going to let like 6-8 months go by and then have you back in, and we're going to study our lists, and we're going to see what's up.
I like it.
I like
Yeah.
that. And people can find you on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's like 4 months old. I was very private about my life for a long time, but
You should be proud.
I was just like, there's so many fun things to share, and I like to share. So
I think it's awesome. I've been following you. Steve turned me on to your Instagram. I've been watching it.
Yep.
I know
me
Jerry
too.
watches it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff on there. So if you don't follow John,
JM27. The legend.
Yep.
follow him on Instagram. You keep up with all the racing, the dirt biking, all the other things beyond just JM Environmental. But what you put out there, and I think you have so much insight and so much knowledge to share with people in our industry, and then just outside of it, just in general. I think
Yeah.
it's awesome.
You know what that means, Heather? It means I'm getting old. It really sucks.
No,
Oops.
it is. But you know what? It's good. It's a good piece because I think both Jerry and I respect where that comes from because we're in that middle. We're not the youngest guys, right? But we're not the older generation, and
Oh.
it's different in this realm, in this playing field, because there's not. It's like you kind of had to go to the school of hard knocks, and I think for what Jerry and I are trying to put out there, and why we started the Build Line, and why we have these conversations, is because getting these things from somebody that's done it ahead of time. It's always been like, well, you'll just figure it out. You're going to go run the truck and you're heading to the wall 15 times and then you'll figure it out. I would rather extract those and talk about those things and have things like this that we can reflect on so that maybe we only run the truck into the wall 3 times, right? Like it just puts it out there more and less of that school of hard knocks.
And hearing that running the truck into the wall is normal is cool too.
Yeah.
That happens.
Yeah, because that's what you get from the younger generation. We should just have it figured out. Why did you have it figured out? It's easy. And it's not, right? So you get into that headspace. And
it's
I
real.
Appreciate it.
You know, it's life and construction and the trades and running a company, creating a company. It's so real. It's not staring at your phone. It's real life. And there's good, Tankersley, you guys remind me of AP, Amy and Paul, AP Thomas. You know, I've worked with them decades back, and that's where I see Tankersley. Cool. Heather and Steve remind me of
that's
AP.
Cool. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I did a job with them way back in the day.
Be careful what you wish for, because it's going to get busy for you guys.
We're here for it. We're going to be ready. We're going to stay ready for that.
And Jerry, you know, just the fact that I found out that he's the go-to for DH, which, you know.
Big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is. Well, we are going to see. I do need you to check your phone for us, John.
Yeah.
I do need to figure out how many text messages and how many phone calls you might have, because as much as Jerry and I are popular and we host a podcast, we are not that important, and usually our guests are. So I am 0 for 13. I do not win this bet ever. I feel like people think I'm important, but I'm not.
So I've only missed 2 texts and 2 phone calls.
Ooh, Jerry, can you beat that?
5 phone calls and 3 texts.
Oh, I'm 6 texts, 2 phone calls. So Jerry, you are the winner today.
Jeez, man, I always got.
You always are on fire.
I gotta start driving a fire truck.
My little wish list kind of came true.
Oh.
You know, a little piece.
Yes, this is true. You did get it for this.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, John, for coming on and sharing it with us.
It was awesome.
Yep. Everybody follow the Build Line on Spotify, the podcast on iTunes, Apple phone stuff, YouTube, everywhere you can find podcasts, we're there. Please, 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 share it with everybody. We need all the shares that we can get. So every other Tuesday, a new episode comes out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Rock and roll.